good start on bike number 40, but a rapid descent down Paddock Hill Bend from the second row of the grid, and that might be Ben Fail because he's the tiniest man out there, and he usually makes rocket ship starts as they drop into Druids Hill Bend, and that means that Jonathan Railton has got consumed a little in the pack. Now he's got a bit of work to do, but he doesn't take long in setting about opening up an advantage at the front. So Jonathan Railton, the championship leader. Marty Nutt needs to try and get the better of him, having won yesterday's race. It's actually Leon Morris who's hit the front, the 2011 champion, ahead of the returning Spike Edwards. Dennis Hobbs in third, Railton with work to do in fourth, Marty Nutt even more work to do in fifth, ahead of Byron Beckett. Darren Fry, the lap record holder, is seventh ahead of Dan Fowler and Ed Smith, as they plunge off under the bridge, down into Pilgrim's Drop, and then this short, sharp burst along the Minter Straight.
Yeah, Leon Morris got a great launch off the line there. He doesn't weigh a lot, the 2011 champ, and really got a fantastic start. And actually, Railton, who's leading the championship, didn't get a good start at all. He seemed to bog it down a fraction and got pretty beaten up. It's good to see Spike Edwards back in second spot as well after being out of it for a bit.
But he had a couple of heavy crashes, one at Donington and one at Snetterton. It's amazing to see the rugged old warhorse back so soon, and also being in contention as well as they barge across the line at the end of the first lap. The leader is number 2, Leon Morris, number 121, Spike Edwards forcing the pace behind him. And look at that, Dennis Hobbs losing out as they drop down through Paddock Hill Bend, and Hobbs, originally from Gisborough in North Yorkshire, finds himself forced back by Marty Nutt. It's Marty Nutt who's making moves. He's absolutely buoyant with confidence after yesterday's win and a victory at Snetterton. Just 3 points off the championship lead, and the Ulsterman is really putting pressure on now in number 77 in third place. There's a jump start right through penalty for the number 69 machine. That's Peter Hasler from Chertsey on the second of the most plumbing art of racing bikes.
Marty Nutt is almost certainly about to make a move on Edwards. He was going up the inside there, so you could see Edwards. This is the start. Oh, yeah, it's a massive jump start on the full throw on the inside. Yeah, but I was just going to say, Marty Nutt there, you can see the bike that we're looking at, number 77 with the red, white and blue. He, unbelievably, Jonathan Railton, who's, he's won 5 out the first 6 races. He looked like, what a massive moment by
that was Marty Nutt.
That was enormous. He had too much power on the tyres, aren't fully up to temperature, and as you come over there, the bike goes light. We'll see it again with the
straight back in front of Hobbsy.
Right. Well, watch the second bike in the picture, watch his rear. Whoa! Wow, he was lucky to get away with that one. Look at it from that angle. It is seriously twisted up. Now, that's a warning you got to heed. Oh!
And we got a faller down at Clearways, trudging off in a splendid set of off-the-peg leathers.
Let's have a little look. Oh.
And he just low-sided off.
So luckily the bike kept down as well.
Do you remember the days when you guys used to race with magnificent huge numbers on the front, and we could actually see what people were
back
riding?
in the day?
Back in the day. I've never seen anyone benefit more from a jump start than Pete Hasler did there, James. He got a rocket of a drive, didn't he, down the pit wall?
He did. I mean, away at the front though, Morris is doing a brilliant job. Fastest lap of the race, 131.5 on that lap, and he's really getting
That's a new lap record, James. The 132.44 has just been blown out of the window. A new lap record for the 2011 champion, number 2, Leon Morris from Stockbridge on the Stockbridge Racing 848. And he's opening up a gap at the front.
He certainly is. He's really getting to grips with it. And if they're going to have, both Railton and Nutt, they're going to want to try and get back at him. I think Nutt's going to just be taking it easy for a little bit.
Well, he instantly retook Dennis Hobbs, so he's back there in third place, trying to chase down Spike Edwards, who's made a remarkable recovery, the Harrogate-paced Liverpudlian, after giving himself such a battering at both Donington and Snetterton.
But a good third place yesterday for Edwards. I mean, in the championship, the main thing in the championship that you've got to know at home is there's just 3 points between Jonathan Railton, who's leading it, number 40, and Martin Nutt, who's in second, who's currently in third in the race, and currently they're third and fifth in the race. So that's the battle, the big battle for the championship.
Test your maths there, young man. So that's 16 points would go to third place if they stayed where they were, and 11 points. So that would mean that Martin Nutt would just creep into the lead if Dennis Hobbs there on the black bike were able to fend off Jonathan Railton, number 40, because Railton is the championship leader, and Hobbsy there running in fourth place is currently keeping that man down into fifth.
Now, it looks to me, though, I think Railton might have just lost a fraction of confidence, you know, because, you know, he had that crash yesterday. He's been dominant all the time, and he's, you know, I know it's only lap 4 of 10, but you haven't got a long while, and he just doesn't look quite himself. But look at this, Martin Nutt, he's up into second, he's closing that gap on the leader, Leon Morris. That has definitely come down. He's also put the fastest lap of the race in, which is another new lap record, 1:31.493. So the man in...
Railton responds, he's got past Dennis Hobbs, so that Nutt is getting the better of things here and could even win this race. Now has a long gap ahead of him to try and close down on the front three.
Yeah, it looks like too much to me in 6 laps, but you never know. But I think the man you got to watch out for is Martin Nutt. This will probably be another quick lap. We'll see as he crosses the line. Let's have a look at the gap at the moment. He was 0.9 of a second. He's down to 0.4. So it's a good gap. Although for some reason there's something weird's gone off with his transponder there, because Nutt came through, he's taken the lead, but on our screen it doesn't show him at all. So something weird happened there with Martin Nutt's transponder. But the point is, we can see he's in the lead. It doesn't matter what it says on the timing screens.
So Martin Nutt, who's the proprietor of Nutt Travel, his dad's business, of course, Billy Nutt MBE, the great Irish race organiser. They're in Coleraine, and they'll organise you any kind of ferry crossings for business, sport or pressure in Ireland, the UK, the Isle of Man, Europe, wherever you want to go. And at the moment, Martin Nutt, who can't stop enjoying his racing and coming back out and doing this, even though he knows he's old enough to know better, is at the moment leading this race, and therefore will take the lead in the championship.
He's also he's just put he's popped back up on our timing screens with a 1:30.7.
Wow.
Now remember, the lap record before this weekend was a 1:32.4. So these guys have taken nearly 2 seconds off it, 1.7 seconds. It's absolutely destroyed it. And as Jack says, at this rate, if he continues where he is, he will jump into the lead of the championship.
I think Railton's on a good lap at the moment. He's closed the gap a bit on the 3 flyers ahead of him. We're on just completing the 5th lap of 10, so right on half distance then. Let's check out Jonathan Railton's last lap. Martin Nutt had set a new record of 1:30.7. It's a 1:31.3, his fastest lap of the race for Jonathan Railton. And that did take a bit of time out of the leaders.
Yeah, I mean, he's still got quite a lot to go. He's got 1.7 seconds back on Edwards in third spot. So with Jonathan Railton, we know he has been overall, you know, on wins, he's been the quickest man of the season. He's had 5 wins. Martin Nutt's had 2 wins. So they've shared all the wins between this top 2 in the championship. But you can see number 2 there, Leon Morris,
Leon Morris is key,
on the way.
isn't
He is not. He's kind of regrouped a little bit. He missed the apex on that lap. And Mike Edwards, you can never count him out. The man in third spot.
So Leon Morris, who beat Spike Edwards, who he's racing against right now, there's Spike in third place, to the championship in 2011. There he is on bike number 2, is putting everything in to try and keep in touch with and perhaps get the better of Martin. Nutt leads the way. There's number 2, Morris in second. Mike Edwards is in third, Railton is fourth, Dennis Hobbs fifth, Ben Field is in 6th place, ahead of Darren Fry, Dan Fowler, Ed Smith and Jack Keane running 10th.
Yeah, and you're right, all the time Railton is just taking a little 10th here, a little 10th there. We'll keep an eye on the comparisons they cross, but looks like he's just taking a couple more tenths off in this lap.
So the tall project engineer for a telecoms company who comes from Huntingdon, 22 years old now, running in 4th place, trying to close the gap. He currently leads the championship by just that 3 bare points. So Nutt, Morris, Edwards, Railton. Once again, Railton, he's not the quickest man on track because he's just running at exactly the same pace as the leaders on that one.
I was going to say the top 4 all put in identical 1:31.2 laps. So, you know, incredible. They've held exactly the same on that lap.
Leon Morris having one of his best rides of the year here. He's really, at the moment, he's down in third place in the championship on 77 points, 1 point ahead of Dennis Hobbs, who is obviously loitering in 5th place at the moment.
Yeah, third. He got a second yesterday, Leon Morris, so he had a good result. He's currently second at the moment, and it looks like they're just starting to drop Mike Edwards in third, and then Jonathan Railton fourth. And then you can see Hobbs and Field. Hobbs just ahead of Field there.
Good ride for Ben Field, who's about 4'11" in his stocking feet. Tiny little character there in the multicoloured helmet. Is right now almost on the back wheel of Dennis Hobbs. I'll tell you what, there's a weight difference. Dennis in his best possible fighting weight is about 13 stone.
Yeah, Dennis's leg weighs as much as him. But that's, yeah, when you get to these sort of, these 8x8s or 600s, weight is so critical. It makes such an advantage because they don't have the torque, they don't quite have the power. This is back at the front, and you can see Marty Nutt has maybe just pulled a 10th, I'd say, on Leon Morris there.
Great contrast in riding style, James. Marty Nutt, that little more of the old-fashioned laid-back riding style, and a very determined, pronounced racing style from Leon Morris there in second place.
Yeah, and there was nothing between first and second on that lap, 1:31.1. The difference came for the man in third, Mike Edwards, and Jonathan Railton in fourth. Railton took nearly half a second out of Edwards on that lap, so Edwards, if he wants to get third, he's going to have to be slightly careful, because Jonathan Railton, the championship leader, although not for long at this rate, is just squeezing him in.
If Marty Nutt hangs on to this, 25 points would go his way. And not if he does that. He blows the lead straight away. That's his second big moment of the race coming out of Surtees.
Yeah, and that was commentator curse if ever I saw it. So, yeah, you said if Marty was going to hang on to this...
Bang!
So, well done, Marty. That's twice. Don't make it a third time. So, that is back to Leon Morris. Let's see what he's got, though. Is he going to settle for second? I wouldn't say so, actually. He's been in a good little rhythm there, but Leon Morris, he doesn't really make too many mistakes. Very neat, very tidy, precise little rider. Obviously, we say he's been the champion here before, and looks very, very comfortable on these bikes.
Jonathan Railton now really has the front three in his sights. This is going to build up into a tantalising battle at the end. We've got 2 more laps to go at the end of this one. Scorching now through the Clark Curve onto the Brabham Straight. 8 laps complete. Leon Morris leads it from Marty Nutt, Spike Edwards, and the danger man Jonathan Railton.
Yep, so this is the penultimate lap, and you can see Jonathan Railton. It's one thing to catch him, but he's still going to have to pass Mike Edwards, who's not easy.
Marty Nutt, that cost him a second, that big moment. His lap, 1:32, almost 1:32 and a half.
Yeah, no, it did cost him a lot of time because he couldn't... And also, when it's a massive straight like that, it costs you all the way down. So you don't just lose that little bit there, you lose it all the way down. So, yeah, it was a big mistake. You can see Jonathan Railton there, number 40, on the Boost Plumbing bike. He is really getting on the back of Mike Edwards there. I think first and second are still safe, to be honest, but I think that Mike Edwards has got to worry.
He's reckoned to be one of the hardest men to pass on track, the 51-year-old from Harrogate. I beg your pardon, I hope I'm not doing him a disservice. He might still be 50. Oh, he's having... Tyres seem to be giving people some moments here. Why? Look at that.
Not
that
for
moment
Jonathan Railton.
Because Railton just charged through. And Railton now has his rival Marty Nutt in his sights. Railton gathering speed and confidence as the race goes on. Dives through Sheen Curve. Now, next man in his sights is the second place Marty Nutt.
Yeah, he just dismissed him. Jonathan Railton, he was just straight through. This is the move. Jonathan Railton up this inside. Railton on rails. Ba-boom, chow.
Well done. Or rather not. Morris, Nutt, Railton at the front. We're into the closing stages. 1 lap to go. Leon Morris, is he going to grab his first race win of the year? Second place for Marty Nutt, who's had those 2 big warning moments. And then the Boost Plumbing Art of Racing bike there in third place, number 40, Jonathan Railton. This is for the championship lead between second and third place men.
This is, if it stays like this at the moment, he will...
Marty will have a 1 point
lead, that's right. And you
Ben
can
Field's
see...
got the better of Dennis Hobbs in their squabble for 5th place. Hobbsy will be disappointed with that. It's a long drive back to Knockhill after you feel a bit down on yourself.
But what's happening with second and third, that's what I want to know. There you go, look at that. Jonathan Railton is nearly on the back of him.
And I think, was that Marty Nutt taking a long look over his left shoulder then to see what was going on?
Yeah. Now this is going to...
He sees that number 40 filling his rear view mirror.
He's got to keep it all neat. He's got to cover the inside as well, especially going into clearways. That is where Jonathan Railton is undoubtedly going to have a look. Looked like he lost a fraction of time in there, went a little bit wide. Oh, you can probably hear them. There's a back marker coming up as well. That could be interesting. But he's just got to keep it nailed, got to keep it tight. He covers himself a line. And again, this is what it's all about. He's got the back markers moving out of the way. Jonathan Railton's surely going to have a look up the inside. He can't do it on that lap.
Diving through clearways, he's got to do it on this lap. It's the final lap. It's going to be Leon Morris's race, but the dive for the line will decide the championship lead. And Marty Nutt does hang on. The man from Castle Rock just beats Huntington's Jonathan Railton across the line. Gets that third place for Railton, fourth for Spike Edwards, fifth. Hobbs gets back on Ben Field and grabs that fifth place. A victory for number 2, Leon Morris, and the championship lead for number 77, Marty Nutt. He survived a couple of lurid moments, but he held off the ex-championship leader, Jonathan Railton, and 1 point will separate them when they head for the next round. Ducati Trioptions 848 Challenge, the second race result of the weekend. It's Leon Morris who takes his maiden victory of the year, having won the championship in 2011. Marty Nutt just hangs on to second place vitally to take a 1 point lead in the championship from Jonathan Railton. Spike Edwards on his return is fourth. Dennis Hobbs wins his duel with Ben Field for fifth place. Darren Fry finishes seventh ahead of Dan Fowler, Ed Smith and Jack Keane. 11th place goes to Simon ahead of Brown, Holden, Neary and Poyser, the final point scorer, ahead of Galloway, Wilson, Brown, Gilfallen and